This is my review of AC Black Flag. Yes, the pirate game before my game disc is too scratched to play. There will be spoilers ahead, so if you haven't played it, play it and come back to this video. AC4 Black Flag is, in my opinion, the best of the AC games. Yes, I have played the Ezio trilogy and I prefer Black Flag to either AC2, Brotherhood or Revelations. Unlike those games, Black Flag gives you your kit, your equipment and abilities in just over an hour. You get right to the fun. The Ezio games, I find games takes a while for the player to get even the most basic starting equipment, which was a frustration of mine. Black Flag does what many games I like does. It has 1, a great story, and 2, great gameplay. The gameplay is very good. Like AC3, you hold the R2 button down and you can free run. Kenway can climb buildings, trees and most other surfaces. You only need one button, unlike the Ezio games, and this feels much better. I know some people like to complain that this is too easy compared to platform games they played many years ago, but as someone who used to play those games too, screw that. Traversal is quick, fun and responsive. Climbing tall buildings and ships is great fun, and the leap of faith returns. The combat is simple to pick up. The best way to play the game is when an enemy is about to hit you, you press the counter button and then you got the option to either swing your weapon, throw them, whip them, disarm them or break their defense. It's a different system compared to Arkham City. Kenway dual wields swords, or he can use his hidden blade for combat. When you kill someone successfully, you can either chain kills with other enemies by moving the control stick in the direction of the enemy and striking. There is plenty to do. You can collect anima shards, play board games such as checkers, Brotherhood contracts and naval contracts to help pirates finding treasure maps and loot containers. Kenway can hunt animals on land to craft items such as ammo and outfits. You get to captain the ship, the Jackdaw, and Black Flag is an open world game. It is open from almost the start. The Caribbean has many islands to explore, from Jamaica to the Yucatan Peninsula to the smallest of islands. The ship handles quite well. You can launch cannons from the sides of the ship, launch mortars and ram ships. You can board enemy ships to earn money by selling the stolen cargo. It's fun. What is not so fun is the Kenway's Fleet minigame, which operates similar to those old games on the social media, in which you would have to wait several real hours for progress. Kenway can stop the ship at any time to look for treasure, but there can be wild storms. What can I say? The ship travel and ship battles are fun, especially against the man-of-war ships. The only thing I don't like is the tail and eavesdropping missions. You have to follow a target or targets. This can be on land or on the ship. If you are too slow, you have to start again. If you are too close, you have to start again. And sometimes there is a time limit. Not fun at all. There is an Animus database where you can look at the lore you've gathered, info about the places, the people and animals you can discover. It's very interesting if you want to have a read. Black Flag has 2 story threads, the historical and the present day. Let's start with the historical story. The setting is the golden age of piracy, the early 18th century, the 1700s, in the Caribbean, a setting that is fascinating. All the most well-known pirates are here: Blackbeard, Charles Vane, Rackham, Hornigold, Anne Bonny and Mary Read. You play as Edward Kenway, father of Haytham and the grandfather of Connor from AC3. Although he is fictional, you do get to interact with real-life pirates. Edward is an interesting character and goes through an arc throughout the game. He's not really a bad guy, but is willing to use violence when necessary. He is a pirate after all. He starts as very ambitious, aiming to score enough gold so he can send it to his wife, Caroline, back in Britain. He pretends to be a Brotherhood member turncoat for the Templars and scores a meeting with some of them. In the AC series, the Brotherhood, who we play as, are the traditional enemies of the Templars. AC does this thing where both sides of a conflict are in a secret order, as he meets Ayala and others of the Templars. Historically, the Spanish, English and French should be rivals, but here they are together in secret. When he discovers the Templars are trying to get access to the First One's observatory, a precursor race, the observatory is of a device to spy on various people around the world, and when he finds out, he wants it. Part of his deals with the Templars is to give them the location of every Brotherhood member in the West Indies. It's at this moment that he's found out by the Templars when trying to find the sage. Anyway, he then goes on a journey to redeem himself with the Brotherhood. In a sense, he's neither Brotherhood nor Templar, and he better fits the definition of a rogue than Shay Cormac, the protagonist of a future game in the series. As he loses his friends, he comes to realize he needs to fight for something other than gold. It's a good message, and you should strive to be better. Sure, but he's also a pirate, and at first I thought the goal of more gold is an adequate one. But after replaying the game this recently, I think I prefer this story of Kenway becoming a better person. He mellows out after during his journey, and he becomes a better person. In a touching scene at the end of the game, he takes his daughter on the ride of the ship, as Caroline, his wife, has long passed. In the present day, you always play as the analyst. I'm serious, they don't have a name. We are working for the Abstergo company, trying to capture footage of Edward Kenway for research. We meet Kelly, but we also meet the mysterious John Standish. We plug directly into the analyst machine via chair, and that let us relive the memories of Kenway. The present-day sections let us move in first person only, and unlike in AC3, the first-person sections and Kenway's segments are in the same engine, so it's a smooth transition. We visit the present day a few times in the story, and John communicates to us. He needs help hacking various computers around Abstergo, telling us that he's a part of the Brotherhood. It is later revealed that John is the sage, reincarnated in the present day. His plan is to resurrect Juno of the first civilization, but fails, and Juno contacts us and only us. John tries to kill the player character, but is killed by security. Like his counterpart in the 18th century, he's neither Templar or Brotherhood. Like I said, I like both historical and present-day stories. I like so many of the characters in this game: Blackbeard, Mary Read, Anne Bonny, Bartholomew Roberts, Adewale, lots of them. Blackbeard is friendly to you, and there are moments that suggest that he could be a good man. He prefers not to kill his prey rather than scare them, and actually looked for medicines for his crew. His line at the end of his life, "In a world where there was no gold, we might have been heroes." So good. Blackbeard really did search for medicines and die in a similar way, but who knows if he said that line in real life. Mary Read is instrumental in forging Kenway's character and introduces him into the Brotherhood. Historically, she really did dress as a man, and she did die in prison after childbirth. Her death scene is just as, or even more affecting as Blackbeard's. One of the best things about AC games is that they can get the gaps of history and fill them in with something that is dramatic and emotional to the player. Many of the people in Black Flag really did live in the time period, but we don't know much about them, so the writers of AC games can craft a narrative around that. Unlike a certain pirate movie franchise, Black Flag does its research and is generally very down-to-earth and realistic. Adewale makes mention of the sugarcane boiling process, and it is as unpleasant as you think it is. You can see slaves working in plantation fields, an inhumane practice that actually happened. Black Flag mentions many historical details. For example, the historical Maroons of the era. The Maroons were escaped slaves who formed communities in the region. Not many fictional works mention them, but Black Flag does. Black Flag is decently authentic. The only problem I have is some of the clothes does not seem too historical for the time. Walking on the roofs don't count as being ahistorical either. It's just there for the gameplay. Lastly, I want to talk about Bartholomew Roberts, Black Bart. He is a sage, a reincarnation of the first civilization person, Aida. He's cunning but also ruthless. There's a sense that he hates humanity and he is neither Brotherhood or Templar, preferring a third option. A part of him knows that he is a sage, just like John, but he remarks that he was born too early. Maybe Juno doesn't like him. The graphics are good, facials show detail, and the Caribbean looks gorgeous with its palm trees and white sandy beaches. There is a lot of what I call visual clutter. Boxes, crates, equipment in most of the areas. These are objects that make the place look lived in. Some of the environment looks samey, as I use reusing the Caribbean tile set, but it does what Skyrim does and alternates with other assets to keep it fresh, even though it's the same tile set. There are some lighting problems, especially with Kenway's beard, and sometimes the color palette is too green or too dark blue. I know there are a lot of people that like to complain, and I have first complained that there are not many things to climb up during the free roam, free running sessions as you walk in the city. There are like tall ships, but as I went through this latest playthrough, I found that actually, I think the towns that you visit are decently detailed, and they have a lot of little alleyways, and there are lots of different things to climb up on. All in all, AC4 Black Flag is a great game. Good story, good gameplay. Even if you don't like other AC games, you might want to give this one a chance. Or not. It's your decision. All there is left to say is thank you for watching. Goodbye for now.